Hey humans, Lena and Inca here today. Don't have much to say. Yesterday was not a good day. That incident triggered a bunch of my own flashbacks and unpleasantries, which I'm going to not get into today because I choose to be in a better state. But as far as it goes for talking about COVID, for shit's sake, people, it's actually reached the point here that the building manager and the landlord, and I actually am quite proud of them for doing this, how to set up a notice outside on the front door leading in, stating that if you are not a tenant here, then you are not to enter. Which is great because that protects all the tenants that we have who are elderly. It also protects those who are vulnerable and at risk. But I swear to ever loving God, Goddess, and all that, I catch somebody having their kids here again when they should not. I'm making that I'm making that report because that's putting them at an unnecessary risk as well as ourselves. Like for shit's sake, people, we're living in a plague. Do you not get that yet? This is a plague, people. A plague. Black plague. Spanish flu. Those are the only two I can think of at the moment for some reason. First coffee. First coffee done. I actually don't drink my coffee with milk. It's not because I don't like milk, but it's actually because, well, milk kind of doesn't sit with my stomach very well. But I use coconut milk, like the silk coconut milk, and holy cow, it gives it a nice velvety, chocolatey almost taste to it. So good. So yesterday, this is what I finished doing to keep myself and help myself chill out. Look at all that. Look at the sparkles on that. Shiny, shiny, shiny. Yeah, I color when I get super anxious. It helps sometimes. Other times I have to take my medicine, which I use medical marijuana. It has given me a quality of life. He's here in Bert. I don't know if you can. Hopefully you can. But I use medical marijuana. It's actually given me a quality of life. Well, my medications that I take, my pills, they have, well, one of them has completely eliminated my desire and appetite to eat. Another one gives me such extreme stomach pains that I am kind of, wow, what the shit? That I'm kind of unable to actually function. Before I started taking the medical marijuana, that light is annoying me, but I don't know what's going on with that. Oh, I was basically bedridden for the bulk of the month, throwing up constantly. I wasn't able to keep water down, wasn't able to keep food down. I was literally bedridden and vomiting. And then I started using marijuana. At first it was recreationally. A couple of friends said, hey, come on, let's try it. I'm like, I don't really want to try it. It's a drug. But I knew I was safe, and if shit went south, I was with people I trusted. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll try a little bit. And I did. And any anxiety I had, poof, depression, significantly reduced. I had fun that day. And so for the next 2, 3 years, I was using it recreationally. But I also began to notice the how it was affecting the side effects from the pills that I was taking for my depression, anxiety, and mental issues. And so as my doctor increased my prescriptions, my dosages, the pains and lack of and an inability, to eat and swallow food. Like literally, I will try to eat something and I'll swallow, but it'll just go down to like there or maybe there, and it just doesn't go down. And I'll be like forcing it down my throat. Side effect of the pills I'm on. But yeah, I began to experience that the marijuana actually was helping me eat, and it was helping with the anxiety, and the stomach pain wasn't as severe. So then I looked at it as a thing, medical thing, and you know what? Using it for medicine, I found so many changes. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. Excuse me. Remember, people, when sneezing, sneeze into the crook of your arm or your shoulder, whatever's easier so you don't spread those sneezes. Coughs and sneezes spread diseases. Wrap them in your handkerchiefs. But back to the medical marijuana. I started using it as medicine, and the difference it began to make was astounding. And so I switched. I eventually ended up convincing my doctor after 2 years that it was worth it for me, that it benefited me, and that it wasn't just because I wanted some excuse to use it legally or something like that. So I finally got a prescription for it. And that was a massive, massive change in the quality of my life. Where I was once bedridden, crippled, unable to eat, and curled up in agony, I was now moving around, eating food, drinking water, and actually living instead of being bedridden. And that continues on today. Now, I'll be honest, with the legalization of recreational marijuana, the government has severely screwed over every single medical marijuana user. The Cannabis Act that they put in place completely eradicated the medical marijuana act that they had prior. The new one, it does not give a lot of explanation or details for medical marijuana. While it does state that medical marijuana users are not subject to the same laws regarding possession and where you can use it, it does not explain in detail as to what they have to go by. So that leaves it open for a lot of discrimination and harassment. I experienced that because I had my landlord right now, he tried to evict me within a week of us moving in because I use medical marijuana. There's a lot of people out there. And before recreational cannabis came into play, I was protected. But with recreational cannabis, I lost that protection, as did every other medical marijuana user. On top of that, cost went up. Yeah, that sin tax, that's on medical marijuana too. So it's become a situation where medical marijuana is almost, in some cases, more expensive than recreational. And that's not the way it should be. People who use it medically so that they can actually have a life where they can actually function and do things, they need it. And making it the way it is now, you've eliminated that ability for them to take medicine that actually helps them live a quality life. I mean, I know otherwise, if I'm unable to take my medical marijuana. I can't eat. I can't drink water. It just comes right back up. I'm in extreme pain from the bupropion that I take, if it even stays down. And like, that's the price that comes with prescription pills. Now, I'm going to say one thing that really irked me. Last year, I contacted the government, the Health Canada government, the Health Canada government portion, asking about a drug identification number, which is what's needed for most insurance companies to be able to bill it for medical marijuana. And I was told that they had no desire or interest in doing so because the information that they had showed that the potential side effects and risks far outweighed the potential benefits. Yeah, so I don't understand that because they go right ahead and say opium's allowed, all sorts of other drugs who's got a lot of side effects like death, permanent damage to your body in one form or another. Seroquel, I have a twitch in this area and my hands that'll act up, and it'll get to the point I can't even do basic stuff with my hands. Like, I won't be able to close an envelope, and I won't be able to speak correctly, like that. And that may never go away. I may be stuck with that permanently. And then there's all the addictive drugs that they say is perfectly okay. The risk of addiction and death and all those awful things is not as bad as the benefits they have. So that made me ask a lot of questions personally, and it made me realize that the government does not give a goddamn. They just want the money. They don't care about people's health. They would rather legalize fentanyl, which is lethal in tiny, tiny doses. They would rather give that a prescription number so people can get that from their doctors and go right ahead and kill themselves by accident, or God forbid, their child touches their pill and that powder comes on their hand and they touch their mouth. Oh, look at that. That kid's probably dead from fentanyl overdose. Marijuana, you're not going to die from that. There is a small potential possibility that, let's say you have a toddler who gets access to your bottle of THC oil and downs it. That's bad. That could potentially kill the kid. I don't know. I'm no physician. I do know up to date there has not been a marijuana related death. Well, rather, a marijuana caused death. There's been lots of deaths from prescriptions. So I don't understand why our government felt that was okay. And I just left it. I just didn't feel like freaking dealing with it and fighting them over it. But I might bring that up again this year, because that needs to change. And I'm starting to become a bit more comfortable accepting the fact that I'm allowed to feel powerful, I'm allowed to feel confident, and I'm allowed to feel strong. I'll be 29 on May 17th, and I'm only now just learning that it's okay for me to feel powerful, for me to feel confident. I'm just learning that, people. That's what abuse does. Now back to the main thing that's going on these days, COVID-19. The province I'm in is very good. I'm very fortunate to be here. Doesn't seem that we have any new cases yet. Again, yay, knock on wood. And PEI, we're small. But not just that. We actually go out of our way, and we are trying, the bulk of us anyway, are actively trying to maintain social distance so we don't infect anybody else. And it appears to be working. Whereas you have places down the States where you got idiots and you got people just mass gathering to protest the stay at home. And all I can think about when I see that is, oh my God, how many of those people are asymptomatic? How many of them are carriers? How many of them are plague rats? And yeah, I'm going to use that term. I'm going to continue to use that term for anybody who knowingly puts others at risk. And I still think that anybody who breaches the government's emplacement of laws for protection in regard to this plague should be charged with bioterrorism. I don't give a damn if you don't agree. I think that's what it needs to be. That's probably the only way we're going to get people to realize how serious this is. But in that regard, like I say always, don't do this. Don't touch your face like I always do. I'm really bad for that, people. However, I will be honest, I have hand sanitizer and I did use that about 10 minutes ago. Well, 10 minutes before I started making this video. Because I was cleaning the cat litter. So my hands are sanitized. But otherwise, don't touch your face. Stay apart from people, at least 2 meters, 6 feet. Picture a person laying in between you. Or take a long broom handle and carry that with you. If they're too close, smack them with the broom handle and say, "Get back, get back." Otherwise, wash your hands for a good 20 seconds. Get your thumbs, get your fingers individually. Get the backs of your hands, get the fronts of your hands, you get in between your fingers, you get your wrists, your thumbs, your fingernails, and you wash it all into the water. And there you go. 20 seconds is all it takes to help save yourself, your family, and everybody in your community. Otherwise, please just stay safe, people, humans. Don't leave unless you absolutely have to. Now, I don't know what it's like wherever you're viewing it, but here unless we are under quarantine, meaning we are sick with COVID-19, we can go outside onto our own properties to get some fresh air or whatever. We're allowed to do that. But if you're sick with COVID-19, you must remain inside. And I mean, my husband and I, we were prepared to take a heavy-ass wool blanket after we duct taped around the door to completely seal it, because it's like an inch gap all the way around. It's dumb. But we were going to seal it with duct tape if we started to show symptoms, and then hang a heavy wool blanket over top of that door. That was just how we were going to do it to protect everybody. But yeah, otherwise, this has been a good 20-minute video of me ranting and raving and chatting. You've got to see my kitty baby Inca over there. Baby. And yeah, there's my daily rant and update. I don't know what to do anymore. These are blurred. Anyway, love and light, people. Love and light, humans. Lena out.